My name's GuykesTV, and for over 21 years I've been a professional bike tester. And today I'm up at Nar Bike Park in Cumbria with Pat and Ben from Nar, because the bike I'm live ride reviewing today is the Identiti Mettle 160mm travel, UK designed, flat out, maximum grain enduro workhorse. It's a bike I've had as a long termer for one of the magazine tests, which just means it gets beaten day in day out with different kit on it. And I've never had a bike that stood up to that kind of workload without complaint like the Identiti. Let's start in here with the detailing. I mean, this linkage here alone, 360 grams, is a serious investment in terms of weight, in terms of the stiffness. But this is the heart of the bike. This is what, what holds the kinematic they've put into the frame together. Same size bearings all the way through. They're large bearings, so they're durable bearings, and it means you're only ever going to need one size of bearing to do the replacing with. 5mm hex on every one. That's one of Pat's little innovations, just to make it totally practical. So as long as you've got 5mm hex Allen key, you can tighten everything. It's a true 4-bar linkage. Got a chainstay pivot here ahead of these really nicely detailed dropouts, big curving cutaway dropouts. Syntace axle, which means you get this really neat rear MECH hanger bolt coming vertically down, which all clamps it together. So it's a fully replaceable system if anything does go wrong. SRAM GX Eagle with the 1050 super wide cassette on there, slightly offset asymmetric chainstays. Got a threaded BB for total practicality. You got ISCG mount, and that comes as standard on these build kits with that little MRP retainer there, but obviously you can put a full chain guide on there if you want. Comes as standard with this SHOX DELUXE shock. It was one of the first bikes available with a metric standard shock actually. They got into that development program really early. Mike Bonney, one of the design team, is so well invested in terms of the people he knows in the industry. They put him onto the whole idea of these new metric, or at the time they were new, metric shocks, which means you've got a bigger negative air spring in there for a more supple start. You've got longer bushings, so it's a more supported shock, and the whole shock is just really smooth. And you've got the bearings at the bottom end there, which obviously minimise friction in terms of the way the shock moves as it's going through its travel. Frame is 6061 heat treated alloy. It's a double butted down tube. The top tube is actually plain gauge just because you've got that shock mount on there, so it's a super strong top tube tying it all together. So even though the tube diameters actually look relatively slim, this thing is like an anvil in terms of the beating you can give it and in terms of the stiffness. It's just such a solid, sure-footed bike. Neat internal cable routing for the dropper post, but gear and brake are external, so if you're enduro racing or if you're just in a hurry switching stuff over, it's really easy to change if you do have a problem. Tapered head tube with a 65-degree head angle and a 75-degree effective seat angle. 485mm, really long reach on this large size, 462 on the medium and 440 on the small. And then back here, again, just, a little super practical detail that just sums this metal up really nicely. These little steel retainers in there, so you're not going to strip the brake threads and right off your frame. You just replace that little barrel adjuster if you get a bit ham-fisted. There are currently 3 Identiti Mettle build kits. This is the entry-level one. They're using a lot of the own brand ice and distribution componentry, which is absolutely fair enough. It's all really good solid kit. Halo, Vapor 35, wide rims there, super fast reacting hub on the back. And this entry-level bike gets the Yari RC fork, absolutely rock solid fork, same chassis as a Lyric, same 35mm thick wall legs, absolute pinner of a fork for a cost-conscious enduro racing use. SRAM level TL brakes, gusset slade bar and a gusset stem. And there's going to be a rolling change, so probably by the time you get yourself an Identiti Mettle, if you watch the video and see how much fun I have on one, it might well be the way you end up heading. This will be a 780mm bar with a 40mm stem, which is what Pat's running over here on his bike. And also, Pat's got the most up-to-date tyre spec in terms of SCHWALBE ADDIX soft compound Magic Mary tyre on the front there, and then Nobby Nick Evo TLE Speed Grip compound, which is actually a stickier compound than the old Trail Star. When we started seeing this on bikes, it's a relatively recent new tyre, but we started seeing this on bikes, we were a bit worried about speed grip, but actually it's a really good compound for English riding. 2.35 tyres, both ends, but it'll actually take a 2.6 if you don't want to add more volume in there. And Pat's also running a coil shock presently, although that's still very much kind of a development thing, because it adds a lot of weight to the bike, and having absolutely hammered that Deluxe RT3 on the production bike that I had without a single issue, it's certainly not something that's needed, but it does look cool. On these bikes, available in purple and grey. So let's go and ride them. This one's definitely worth a watch, because I've ridden way beyond anything I expected to today.
Ah! I'm alive!